What up, what up, what up? This is the Chris Vernon Show here on Grind City Media, the Friday, December 27th, 2024 edition of the show. I'm your host, John Roser. This is a best of edition today. We're going to play you two interviews today from 2024, two of the ones that we thought were the most deserving. First up, the Grizzlies retired Marc Gasol's jersey. This past Grizzly season, the 23-24 season, is when they retired his jersey. They did it in April, and the Grizzlies, to celebrate Marc Gasol, an entire Marc Gasol week. And part of that week, he joined us in studio on a Tuesdays with Tony Allen. Marc Gasol, Tony Allen in studio. This is from April 2nd. Here's how it went.
Today and this week, Memphis-made Marc Gasol is in town and joins us on this Tuesdays with Tony, brought to you by Esco. Can you believe it? Look who's here. Look who's here.
That's man, the GOAT, man. Shit.
He's here.
The GOAT. That's my dog.
He's here.
That's my dog.
Welcome back to town.
Thank you.
So you guys came early. Obviously, the game is not until Saturday,
Yeah.
but it sounds like you brought the whole family to Memphis.
Yeah, we wanted to be here as long as we could. You know, the kids off school, so it was good.
And now the kids are 7 and 9.
Correct.
So do you bounce them around town and show them that now they have, I would imagine they see all the old stomping grounds, right? Are you kind of like doing a tour for them? This is where it all started?
A bit like that. You know,
Yeah.
just driving around the city, playing in the parks, you know, going to eat where we used to eat. Just show them a little bit. I want to go by the house, the old house. That, you know, it's too emotional for me. I love that place.
Really?
Yeah, I can't do that.
What did you have to do when you got here?
Nothing. It's just the speed of Memphis just, you know, gets with you real quick. It's just as soon as you land and you get on that 240, like you home.
I'm saying what you missed.
The people, like seeing TA today, that to me, that just, you know, that's all I wanted to do. Just see the people, enjoy, walk around. You know, nothing much. It's nothing big. I mean, it's just being in Memphis.
It is the people. Let me tell you guys a quick story. So I was telling you before we went on the air that I went to Orlando. And as much as the city gets beat up and there's always, you know, some kind of bad news about crime or something else like that, I always try to express the same way you just did. It's the people, right? So quick story. I went to Orlando over the weekend. That's why Roser filled in yesterday. And we left the airport on Friday. And now I get to our destination in Orlando, and we're going to be getting the I think one of my kids asked me for something. I went to go reach for my wallet. My wallet is gone. I don't have it. Now, obviously, I had it to get on the plane when we went through security in Memphis, whatever. Now, keep the story short, but this is just to express it's a perfect example of how much I love this city and why I love this city. The short version of the story is this. After I had gotten to Orlando, my wallet is gone. I have lost it somewhere. I go and I check Instagram, and I get a DM from a guy who I do not know, who lives in Memphis. And he said, Chris, my name's Ron. You left your wallet at Chick-fil-A in the Memphis airport. And he goes, I turned it in security, but if you want me to overnight it to you so you can get back home, I will. And this guy took my wallet to FedEx after he got off work and overnighted it to me. We do not know each other at all, but that's it. And I try to express to people, like, it's the people, right? The good so far outweighs the bad. The idea that I could lose my wallet at Chick-fil-A and there would just be a guy who's like, hey, man, I'll overnight that to you in Orlando. So sure enough, I got the overnight package, and I was able to fly back yesterday because some guy randomly found my wallet at Chick-fil-A. What are the chances of that?
That's dope. That's dope. That was a miracle. You gotta watch out for the DoorDash charges every now and then on your car. Because it is a little bad in that thing, man.
Yeah.
You understand?
So you talked about experiencing the people. You talk about the people a lot and how much you love Memphis in the movie that just came out. We went. I saw the premiere last Thursday. Have you watched it yet?
Not yet. I'm a little too self-conscious to watch those things. Like I will. I know that Michael Blevin has done a great job.
It's great.
I know it is, but you know, it's hard for me to watch.
It's hard for you to talk about yourself too, right?
Yes. Yes. So this week is only mostly about that, which is great. But it won't be only about me. That I can tell you. It won't be about me.
How many times do you sit back and are you now to the stage where now you've been removed long enough that you can reminisce and think about everything that took place during your time in your career here?
I definitely value it. I definitely value everything that happened and who it happened with. That means the world to me, more than, the end goal of what happened, and it's just who it happened with and how it happened. So, that's what I take out the most and what I miss the most. Seeing TA every day in the locker room and knowing what he's going to be about. That's what I miss.
So one of the things that I gathered from watching the documentary and covering you for all those years here, you were always, and this has become commonplace now, whether it is with running teams or whether it is you hear teams all of the time talk about shot quality or how we're playing, but you were way far ahead of the curve on this being process oriented, right? You were big on doing things the right way. And there's even a clip, I know you haven't seen it yet. There's a clip where you guys win a game. I believe it's in Brooklyn, and it's Jaren's rookie year. And he has like 40-something points, and Mike has what? And you're mad. You're not winning games with a 40-point, performance by a rookie. Like, we have got to play the right way. I was most interested in, where did that come from in terms of being so process-oriented rather than results-oriented for your career?
I'm not entirely sure where it came from. I just know that's what I believed in and what I believe in today. So wins can fool you sometimes. You win a game in Brooklyn, everybody's feeling good about themselves. You go back home and we won. Long term, it's not going to work out. Like when you go into April, May, and you want to go deep into the playoffs, those little things that you let slip because you won and you don't look at yourself in the mirror, that's going to come back and bite you. There's no question about that. So sometimes wins and losses too. Sometimes you lose a game, but you did everything you're supposed to. You play well. Don't beat yourself up. You did everything you're supposed to. So,
and you don't know where that came from.
I guess.
Is it what they teach there where you were coming up in development?
No, not necessarily, but, here, like at that time, we had the Spurs, right? Like the Spurs was the team as a franchise that was doing everything the right way, process. And like, okay, I want to be, this is what, this is how you win. And they were not the most talented team ever, always. Like, obviously, they had a lot of talent. They had Tim Duncan. They had four, I think, Hall of Famers. But I'm like, okay, if we want to win, we looked around the locker room like, okay, that's, we don't have KD, we don't have other players like that. So, we got to figure out how to do it together and believe in the process.
And then one of the things was, because I was trying to figure this out in terms of your development and like where you came up with, why you were the way you were, right? And
Good question.
But I do think that that's part of the documentary is trying to explore that as well. When you left high school, for everybody that watched you here at Lausanne, one of the things you say is like American college basketball was never going to be my path. But then you went over there and truly became a different human and a different player. So if you can, just take me from leaving Lausanne and then deciding, because your family was here, but you're going back home away, almost like when a kid goes off to college. Instead, you're going back to Spain.
It wasn't easy. My mom really wanted me to stay here and go to college. Coach Calipari, was recruiting me and making sure that my family knew that, here I was going to be taken care of. But I knew if I wanted to follow that path and be a basketball player, I had to, start over and go back to Spain and kind of like wipe up the board and like, okay, what is everything I need to do to become a professional?
How did you know that, though? Why did you not think that going to
like
college?
At 18, you don't know much.
Yeah,
you just have a feeling that this is the right thing to do. And if you fail, it's your decision, though. Like, I wasn't – that's one thing that it always stuck with me. If I'm going to fail at something, I'm going to be responsible for that decision. Like, I'm not going to make someone else like, okay, you should do this. Okay, I'll follow you. Then it fails. That person is going to be gone. And I'm going to be standing there with a bad feeling. So I'm like, I'm going to make that decision, and if I fail, it's my decision, and I can live with that. And but I'm going to give it the best shot. That I can also guarantee you.
Did you immediately, when you got, because everybody's always searching for what's going to happen with my life after high school. It's one of those moments, right? When people go to college away from home for the first time, you don't really know the way it's all going to play out. Did you know immediately, okay, This is exactly what I wanted, and this is going to be my path, and I want to be a professional basketball player. Because you've always had a lot of interest outside of basketball.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it was going to work out at all. Like, it's a lot of small failures along the way that you have to react and pivot. And like, okay, this is not working. Like, I need a little bit more of that. And the first 3 years, like, first year I barely played. I played in the hustle, like it would be like the development team and the professional team. So I played like 16 games with each. I would practice every day. Like the schedule was crazy. Like we would practice in the morning with the professional team. Then in the afternoon at 4 you practice with the B team, it's called. Mm-hmm. And then you go back at 7 and practice again, or be available for the practice again with the professional team. So you're doing practice 3 practices a day.
Damn.
And you're just scrambling around town trying to get to one practice to another and eating and living in an apartment with 3 other cats. So it's fun. And my dad made sure, he said, okay, so back then the rules, like if you wanted to go back to college, you couldn't get paid. You only per diem. I said, okay. So my dad said, you're going to sign a 1-year deal. You're not going to get paid. I said, what?
Talk about sacrifice.
So it's like, that's how it's going to go? Because it said, if you wanted to come back, if it doesn't work out and you want to come back here and
you're
play.
You're not going to be able to college.
You're not going to be able to play. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I did it. So after the first year, I signed my 3-year contract or 4-year contract after that. So that was a bit different. But right away, my dad said, okay, you want to take this gamble? I'm going to take away your wallet.
Once you were there for a year, did you know, all right, I don't want to go to college. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Along the way, we realized, okay, this might work out. And they wanted to sign a long-term deal. And I was comfortable, but everything changes so fast, and you have to, like I said, adapt to the new situation. The coach that signed me left after they signed me. He left. He takes off, fights with the GM, and just takes off. So I'm, new situation. I break my foot. I'm out for a few months. I don't never get in the rhythm with the team. Don't get to play much. Then the 3rd year, new coach. He don't trust me. He want only veterans. I got to change teams. I got to, like I said.
So politics go on overseas too?
Always, everywhere.
I didn't know that. But I would have thought all right, this the project. We're gonna work on the project. Let's form him into who he's gonna be now.
But in Barcelona, it's a big team, right? Barcelona is a big team. A lot of Jabari Parker now playing there. A lot of NBA guys. Exum played there last year. So the project, they don't have that much patience in those big teams. If you go some of the smaller teams, you have time to develop, and they'll invest the time in you. The big teams, you don't work out, you're out of there.
Did you ever think that you were just going to – did you ever think I might just be a Spanish basketball player and I just may play professionally over here for my entire career?
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to come to the NBA after I was done on my 5th year. I got drafted. I'm like, I'm not going over. I got drafted by the Lakers.
Right.
They call me after the draft. I don't even pick up the phone. I'm 48.
And a lot of
is it because of the money?
Do that.
The money is
No,
at that point.
It didn't have nothing to do with the money. I was.
Yeah, why did you not go to the Lakers after you got drafted?
They were a great team. I was not going to play. I just had been through that situation. A young player in a very good team, you're not going to play, and you have to develop. Playing time is important when you're trying to develop. So now I think that's why the Grizzlies now it's such a crucial time. You're trying to see what you have.
Yeah.
You're losing. Okay, it's development time. Let me see what I have. So playing time is precious. You can. When you're trying to win, you don't have that much time.
And so you never even considered it.
Not until Chris Wallace came over.
You're right.
Pau is gone. Now it's a different team, different aspirations. So young
guys that you can play with,
so
right?
Now I have a chance to play. I'm in. I'm down.
Once you could play, but was there a point where you thought I may be like Juan Carlos, even though I know he came over here for a year? Or or that hey, maybe I just want to play. Maybe I want to be a Spanish professional basketball player.
So I signed a 3-year deal
here
when I first came. Yeah, and that was hard for Mr. Heisley to understand. Okay, this guy, plays in Spain. Why am I going to pay this guy, that much money for 3 years when he was 48th pick a year ago? What has to change? So that was a back and forth with Chris Wallace and Mr. Heisley, and his team, and it wasn't easy to understand. So things changed. Yeah, things changed when in those discussions. But I think 3 months.
You haven't seen the movie, right?
No, I have not.
He reveals that Chris reveals he had Powell call him.
Oh, for real?
Michael Heisley loved Powell, and he said, "Call Powell," and that Michael Heisley asked Powell, and your brother says, "I remember the conversation." He said, "If I do this, is your brother going to be, a real NBA player?" And he was like, "He will be better than me."
Brotherly love.
Yeah, really. And so, Heisley always, sometimes to a fault, would get outside counsel, but he loved your brother.
Yeah. He trusted Powell.
Trusted him, and so he said he called him. And then, of course, you got Chris Wallace going, "Thank God," right? Right?
Just looking like a
Thank
genius
God,
at
Powell.
that point.
Thank God, Powell told him that, right?
Yeah, I don't think any of the three envisioned that this was going to be how everything was going to play out.
Right.
Nobody could have thought of that. But like 3 or 4 months into the season, that first season, I'm like, this might not be for me. Like all this losing and nobody caring, and like this is like, I think it was November.
Not fun.
Not fun. Not fun at all. You don't see, like, we were talking about the process, right? You don't see a path. Okay, it's a long path. It's not a pretty path, but it's leading you somewhere. Things here were like, nah, it's just day to day. Like, okay, we lose against somebody by 40. It don't matter. I'm like, I don't know. And then Lionel came in, and that, kind of sort of, changed everything and gave us a direction and kind of put all of us in a place and give us, this is what you're supposed to do. And
that's when you saw a real future.
That's when I decided to stay. That's when like, okay, this makes sense. He spoke a language that made sense to me.
Why do you think Lionel connected with you so well?
He was honest. Like whether you like it or not.
Brutally honest.
Yeah, he would be honest. And as a player, that's all you want most of the times. You don't want the politics. You don't want tell you one thing in front and then go behind it. No, be honest with me. It might take me a day or two, but then it'll make sense if you're honest. Now, if you're not, you cannot fool everybody all the time. It's going to catch up eventually.
So and you guys both were talking about meeting up with Lionel.
Yeah.
Even when you're in town, you're going to meet up with Lionel. So, that's a bond that is it's a lifetime bond. It becomes
For sure.
Lionel always was like he reminded me of my granddad. He gonna say what's come to his mind. You, like Mark say, either you gonna take it and bounce back from it and show and prove, or you gonna crumble. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you need to hear that as a player just to raise you to that next level, man. And he did a good job of that. So shout out Lionel Hollins.
Yep.
Man.
Is that the first time that you thought this can be good here?
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I said, the first 3 months, I didn't know. And I didn't see, like I said, the trajectory and like, okay, this is a winning mentality and something that you're building.
Right.
So when Lionel came in, like he just spoke a language that I believed in, that I trust, and he became like a coach that I could follow.
Right.
Yeah, he was huge.
What do you think drove you? I'm not your psychologist, but I wondered so much when I was watching it how much of it was to prove I am not this guy's little brother.
Oh, for Powell? I still remember the song you made about Powell. That was you, right? That was your head.
No. It's deleted. It's gone forever.
I still remember,
Mark,
I
we
was
all
back in
make
Spain.
mistakes.
I was about to make a couple calls down in Fraser. I'm like, go get this man.
I was young. I was in my 20s.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah. What drove me?
How much of it
for sure,
was?
probably it started a lot with Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Being a little brother and getting beat up and going, to the house and having to deal with that. I hated that. And they know. They saw me on game days when we played, the Lakers or San Antonio and Powell was on the other team. It was a different day. It was a different day for me. We weren't just playing some of the best teams in the NBA. We were playing Powell. And it was no talking.
It was definitely personal.
Yeah. I would even tell the referees, this has nothing to do with y'all. Stay out of this. Stay out of this. Like, it's just me and him. Later on, it got a lot better. Later on, and it got easier too.
Right.
Once I start beating him regularly, and he like.
You
got the record over your brother? Do you even know?
No, he got me.
He did.
Okay, he got me.
When did you and Mike become super close? Because you guys went through that initial losing together.
So I think about,
right.
I already had a lot of information from that locker room, not because they would tell me. I would listen to their stories. I would listen, Pau and Juan Carlos, to my best friends. They, sharing like who is who and who does what and who cares about what. So I knew a lot about Mike before I met him. So once I got to the locker room and then I saw it from my own eyes.
They spoke highly of him.
They spoke highly of him, yeah. About how good of a kid he was, how much he cared about the right things, and blah, blah, blah. But I need to see it for myself. Like, somebody can tell you something, but then you got to live through it, right? And then I saw it. And I think we became close. I think the pivotal point was when he almost got traded. I think that day, that's when he saw that this dude's crazy. Marc is not, doesn't care much about himself. Like, he almost got traded the next day. Mr. Heisley and Chris Wallace called me, and Yabaroni too. Like, you blew the trade, blah, blah, blah. They were pissed. And,
so for people that don't know, at that time, it was Ramon Sessions and Joe Alexander, I believe, was the deal. You think about it, it's crazy in retrospect, right? But Ramon Sessions and Joe Alexander had been a lottery pick, and they were going to swap those two. Ramon Sessions was on a heater for Mike Conley, and then there was an article in the paper that Ron Tillery had written, and you were like, basically, this is crazy. Cannot get rid of Mike Conley for this deal. What I mean, like, and that's very uncommon, right?
Yeah,
for a player to come out.
Looking back, I'm like,
it is kind of wild.
It wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah. But looking back,
like
for me to say that, like a player's talking like that, that
because he was still a young player at the time, and we hadn't accomplished anything.
I'm a rookie too. So
yeah.
I was a rookie at that time, so they
were mad at him.
You can't do that. You can't. But I had to. Like, I felt like if we lose this kid, then definitely gone, because this makes no sense.
Right.
But that's just how life goes. You have to make, like I said at the beginning, you have to make your decisions and live with them. It's like when they drafted Hashim Thabit. Hashim works out. I'm out of there.
Bro, don't bring up his name on this podcast. Bro.
Why not? But it's true. I love Hashim. Like, he's a good dude.
Tony
whatever.
said he tried to help him, and he wouldn't stop eating hot dogs before games.
Man, I'm talking about 40 on the clock. Man got a whole nacho plate on his head.
That was not his main problem, though.
Not his main problem.
That was not.
But you took that personal when they used the number 2
From
pick.
day one, like, we went to training camp. I'm sitting on the bus. All right? I'm sitting on the bus. We driving down. Remember that? We drove down for like 4 hours.
Birmingham.
I'm just waiting for the first practice. I'm like,
Marc used to serve him in practice.
From the first practice,
Barbecue.
it don't matter. Offense, defense, I got to be. That's the way I was taught. Like, you gotta fight. You gotta fight for your spot, right? You bring him in.
There's just no way not to take that personal.
You have to show me. But imagine that works out.
There was no chance that was working out.
Man.
Obviously, they drafted because they thought it could work out.
To his credit, he was nice in college. I give him college. When he got to the league, too much BET he was watching. There was too many music videos, too many nachos and hot dogs, man. That man, his work ethic just wasn't there, man. I sat next to him. I was around him. And then you look at
Well,
Marc,
he's also got a guy pummeling
that's what I'm
him
saying. And Marc got
every
a guy
chance he
coming
gets.
You have to.
in the weight room, first one in the weight room, first one on the practice court, last one to leave. And you could just see it's a difference in who really want it, man. And that's
also,
why I took a liking in him. I'm
to
like,
that
yo.
point, you were going to find out what he was made of, too.
You have to.
Quickly.
You got to go mano a mano. And just like, we all had to go through that.
That's right.
Like Xavier Henry, they drafted him, lottery pick. First thing, I'm looking
really
at
pushing
Tia.
it today, actually.
I just look at,
Pushing it today.
am I lying though?
Man.
So I look at Tia first day. I see his face. I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
Man, come on, man.
And that was it. So that's when you get to the pros. There's pros there,
That's right.
and you want something that I have, you're gonna have to take it from me.
Right.
So it's just simple as that. It's not gonna be given to you. You have to prove yourself day in and day out.
And
Day in
regarding
and day
the
out.
Conley thing, what's so crazy is, and I never even thought about this all that much, and they don't get into it, but the irony of you going to bat for him and then you guys becoming what you became together and as a core four, the other guy was Kyle Lowry, who you ended up winning a title with.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, you just blew me with them. Yo.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they had to make a tough choice.
Yo.
They had to make a tough choice.
I mean, because they drafted those guys back to back, and I'm sure Kyle was in your position,
Shout out Cal.
right?
Cal.
Which was, you're using a 4th draft pick on a point guard? I'm right here. Right? And, of course, obviously you had to make a choice at that point, right?
Yep.
He wasn't going to be happy being the backup.
It wasn't going to work out.
No.
Not for long. But
And then you guys ended up meeting back up together and
Yeah.
becoming teammates in this crazy way, right? Because you did that. You guys had talent. You weren't any good as a team, but like 20-something wins or whatever. But like there was talent on that team between you and Rudy and
sure.
Kyle and Mike. And I mean,
and OJ was on that team too.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys ended up. So at what point you said when Lionel came, that's when you knew things were changing. At what point did you realize that the 4 guys together were something special? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, in practice. Like
You could
once I
tell.
saw how they approach practice and how they compete in practice, then I know I can trust you with the big lights. And that's it. Like if they care about winning in practice, I don't have to worry about in the games. Like they're gonna do the right thing in the games. It's about the 8 other guys I got to worry about being in place and understanding their role and doing, playing at the same intensity that it's necessary for us to win because we were not that good as
Right.
talent-wise. Like we were good, but we were not that good to just out-talent any team. So we have to outwork them. We have to, take them down to the mud and wrestle with them. So that's what we did. We did what we had to do.
How long did it take Zebo to convince you? You say that about
He
practice.
came in hungry from day one. He came in hungry.
They say Zebo was not the practice player.
He came in hungry. In
can tell.
Birmingham, he came in hungry.
And it was a kind of a something to prove too, because they get moved in because they're taking Blake Griffin. So he always carried that, right?
He came in hungry, and he when we played live in practice, maybe he was not the best 1-0 drill guy or 2-0 or
I
like
agree.
summer
I agree
workout.
with that. I agree with that.
He might not be that guy that
He
is going to
turned
be
through the
before
drills.
practice putting shots up, but when he get live in practice or competition, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. And that that's something to his talent. Like he had that talent that when he turned into competition, he would turn into a different animal.
Did you have a perception of him?
Well, he played against
Beforehand?
Stout a lot, so I watched him a lot playing.
It was really a basketball thing, though. Like all the off-the-court stuff, all the stuff that
Who cares about that?
went
Like-
around his neck before he got here. It didn't.
I don't care about that.
Because you guys
What
hit
I
it
care
off
about
immediately.
Yeah, but because you show me who you are. When you're in the trenches and you fight against another team, that's who you are to me. If I can trust you, then I don't have to worry about anything else. I trust you for good, 24 hours a day, and that's how it was for us. Like we trusted each other, and with TA and Mike on the court, we trusted each other everywhere.
Yeah.
Like and that's something that's going to carry for the rest of our lives.
How many times did you have to convince Lionel to put TA back in the game?
He would turn. He would check his app.
What?
He would just walk by.
I get the stretching over there back home. Hey, I'm ready, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, he would let everybody know he's
What are you
ready.
doing, man? Come on, man.
What was the game that everything kind of changed? Like we were in Atlanta or something.
No, let me get this. I got the mic now. Listen, we in L.A. And listen, I'm sitting down. You gonna remember this too. I'm sitting down, clapping, cheering for everybody. I ain't playing till the 4th quarter. Coach Hollins put me in. We down like 8 or 9 in the 4th quarter. Like, TA, come on. I come in, I get like 4, 5 steals. Change the trajectory of the game. Coach, how we come and win? We probably win about like 5 or 6. Come back in the locker room, coach got the ball. He said, I want to get his ball to Tony Allen. He ain't played in about 20-some games. He could have been pouting. He could have been.
You were.
No, I wasn't pouting. I mean, Mark will know when I'm upset. Mark will know when I'm hot.
First year was crazy. Like he was best attitude. Like because he felt like he needed to teach OJ. Like
I just left the finals, bro. Wait, why am I saying? We 9, 10 games behind 500. Why I ain't playing? You see what I'm saying? But that specific game, he talking about, coach came in and say TA could have been pouting. He could have been down. He could have been out of shape. He couldn't, you know what I'm saying? He could have just said, the hell with everything. I didn't. I came in, made a difference in the game. And after that, shit, we went on the road. We went on the road. You know what I'm talking about?
and you're trying to win.
Xavier had turned his ankle, tore his knee up.
Yeah, he had got hurt or something. And then, but yeah. You know how that went with those guys. I don't even like talking about that.
Yeah, but you need guys that are going to help you winning.
Yeah, come on, man. We about winning,
and that's what you're looking for, right? And TA just fits perfectly to that. Like he's going to take it to a different level.
Why do you think that the bond became so great between the four of you?
I think our families
outside
too.
of just winning,
families too. Families
Yeah,
bonded
our
together.
families
Like our
always
wives
kick it.
bonded, our kids bonded. Like it was like I said, a 24-hour thing. Like no matter what we were, home on the road, like we were always connected in a way.
Do you think about how special it was in reference to like other guys you played with or just watching the NBA now? And you think about like this doesn't happen for everybody where you get four guys that spent that amount of time together. I mean, two guys can. Having four that had that many big games and how many, days and nights and everybody kind of growing up and getting married and having kids, like it's kind of odd. It's kind of crazy the way, how rare it really is.
It makes you value it more, cherish it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we fought it till the end, kind of hold on to it and like, okay, let's not break it up. Let's try to keep it going. But things happen and people change and you start to move on and nothing is forever, right? That's what makes it even more special looking back now. So it was just unique.
It's certainly unique. What do you think about the most outside of the people? Is there
how imperfect we were individually, like how many
Personality.
flaws we had, like each one of us, like
it still worked?
and not only work, but like he covered my back on things that I was not great at, and then I try to cover his back on things that he was not great at. And same way with Zebo, with Mike, like we cover for each other a lot, and we care about it. Like it wasn't just we care to a personal level that I don't think nowadays how the world is, it's not that common. So I think that makes me look back and even savor it even more.
How much do you think it matters to like each other as people? Like actually be friends? Do you think that makes a difference on the basketball
but
court?
don't be fooled though. Like there were days that I wanted to slap the shit out of him. I mean, he would drive me crazy. Not most, but there were days that like, all right, TA, come on now. But that's just the way. That's what families are, right? Like that, you go with the good days and the bad days. And then there were days that he wanted to slap the shit out of me because I would not talk to him or whatever. Like, all right. So it happens that way. But eventually, you know that it's all love. And that we want the same thing, which is winning, because we know winning takes care of everything else. If we win big, he's going to be taken care of. His family, my family, all the family is going to be taken care of because winning matters a lot.
Which win or series win do you value the most?
Man, I have bad memory.
Is there one that is more special than the others?
I remember plays and matchups and schemes and like specific things more than series. Like because to me is the addition of many plays that led you to win the game, right? Or series. So there's no one that I could tell you because it was just so many of them, of small plays that led us to this bond that we all have, that I can't tell you specific series that I did. Okay, now this is what I can trust these guys. It didn't happen then. I told you it happened in practice.
Is there one that hurts more?
A few, but I have selective memory, and I kind of like try not to remember that.
Right.
There's like
Who was? It was like a couple weeks ago when Zebo was in here with us. He said the one he got suspended.
Yeah, the one he gets.
with Steven
Forever,
Adams.
he will
With Steven
forever.
Adams.
Like it haunts him.
I don't blame it. It hurt all of us, but you move on. Like yeah, that sucked. We will go back. Like at the same time, what is he doing in the game? The game is over with. Why is he still in the game? And I'm sure it hunts him, hunts me, hunts TA, hunts the coach that I think it was Dave at the time.
Yep.
That had him in the game when it was impossible. Steven Adams was blocking every shot and dunking every ball, and like he looked like I'm like, who is this guy? But the game was over, so we already think about the next game. We're going back to OKC. Right. We have to gear it up and like look at film and see what we need to do to beat them. But now without Zebo, and that's a big difference. He's a horse.
And your team was great that year.
Yeah, you were great. Meanwhile, I want to ask.
Let me see.
As far as the matchup coverage, because you played in two eras almost, like to the point where when we did pick and roll, we'll be on the same page. And I tell you, I'll be like, hey, bro, be up on this pick and roll for about 3-4 seconds. I'm getting over this pick. you get back to your man.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, I don't even want to shake your hand.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
If he ain't showing on that pick and roll, I don't want to shake your
Yeah,
hand.
I'm not talking to
And
you.
then to make that adjustment, I was probably out the league by then, but the league had went to just automatic sag.
Drop right away. Take away the roller. Yeah.
And at some point, like it's like, yo, you just like taking the night off, or like what was that feeling like as a big going to that
Like,
transition?
I hated giving up plays. I hated giving up like certain shots. But the league got so talented that you have to take, not only take something away, which you're willing to live by. Like,
Well, okay.
I'm gonna, if they start making floaters and pull-ups,
So be
it. So they beat us with, of the
Twos.
dribble twos, right? So
Right.
you want to take away the threes, you want to take the rotation and all those things. So
And that's what that was about. Because I watch basketball now, and I was like, damn, I see somebody get the cooking in that mid-range. I see them like, okay, we not finna tag. We just gonna stay with the guard, and we just gonna let him work.
yep.
And it's like the guard get caught in the pick all the time. So it's like, damn,
Yeah, they're gonna
I
hit
didn't
him.
never understand it. You just broke that down. That was dope. I always wanted to know that, man.
That's why, like, Luka has so much, like, with his size and your big is going to be in a drop, like, you create so much separation. The other cat that can't do anything. You 6'7"?
Yeah, he a problem.
Yeah, man.
And another question, how you feel about the European guys is damn near taking over the NBA now? I know you probably saw it,
Hey,
but our top 5
Luka,
guys in the
Giannis,
Jokic.
Embiid, Jokic.
Come
Like,
on, man.
At any list, 4 of the
Shea
top
Gilgeous
5.
Alexander.
That's unprecedented. I didn't even see that coming.
How did the game
Jokic?
speed up
No,
like that?
everybody. Like, all these guys. And,
Did
and
you-
Wembanyama now? Like, you
Yeah.
7-4. Like, what
Did
are
you
we
see
doing?
the Jokic thing coming?
No. I kudos to Denver for believing that playing like that through him every play and creating a system and having all those group of guys that complement the way he plays would take him that far.
I
Like,
kind of thought he probably got his game from you, big fella. Cause I ain't gonna lie, you
you sound like
No, for real. No, for real. Cause I ain't gonna lie. Like I've been seeing that. Like his game really didn't never like. It still don't stick out to me, and there's no knock to him. But it's like I've been seeing big fella, behind the back, throw that thing to me on the cut. You know what I'm saying? Step back, left hand late. You know what I'm saying? Getting his teammates involved.
Yeah,
Hell,
but
half of my points came from him.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? So
Jokic is
I saw a
amazing.
sign of that from you.
but he doing it for 40 minutes. Like they playing through him every play.
Yeah, he's talented, very talented.
Man, I like him. So Jordi Fernandez, the assistant coach for SAC now, he used to be the assistant coach for the Nuggets. And I tell him, like, keep playing through him. All you need him to do is play a little more smart defense. Like I want to see him like, okay, now he has all the offense, a little more defensively, a little more just hands. Like you don't have to like go all out, but care a little more. Like
Yeah.
don't be a target, right? Like he used
Exactly.
to be a target in some series early on, and
Obviously, these are extremely talented guys. There's also a lot that is brought up about the training that takes place over there. And you were talking about the practice schedule earlier. You know, I heard somebody, it was a coach the other day, was complaining. He said, look, it's only going to continue unless we change the way we do things. They have 6 practices in one game. We have 6 games in one practice.
So the
And
development.
this is why the development of these guys from overseas is so much greater than what is happening in American basketball. That was his opinion, whether that is true or not. But you are somebody who went through both. Did you ever play AAU?
I did play AU. Andre Allen. With
did?
Andre Allen.
Oh, big shout out
I
to
played,
NCAA,
yeah,
man.
I played AU with Andre Allen. We went to a couple tournaments with the Nike team.
So
Yeah.
you know the AA, you know what AAU
Yeah.
was like. Obviously, you played high school basketball laws, and you did both. You know, right, where you played in America, but you also then trained before you came to the NBA in Spain.
But in the main goal in AAU, what it is to get picked in the games, right? Like to shine in the games. That's anybody's, because if I'm the best in the game, I'm gonna get picked by whatever college and so on. Over there, it's not like that. Like you can be the best player, but if you don't do the little things and you don't play the right way, like you don't have that many players. So it's gonna
It's
be
just the culture.
It's way more simpler,
Yeah.
and the highlight is not the game. If you don't practice the way you're supposed to, I don't care what your name is. I don't care, your hype, your rank, anything. You're not gonna play.
Really?
And that's
And that is true across the board. There's not somebody there. You know how like now you could just find you guys could like if let's say somebody doesn't take to your son and doesn't like him, right? We'll just go find another AAU team and he'll play him 40 minutes a game. There is nowhere to run, right? If you're there and just say, "Hey, I'm going to switch teams," and then this guy doesn't like me. Okay, he doesn't understand how talented I am.
Rehearsal is more important than the actual performance, right? How you rehearse as a band, let's say music, like how you rehearse, like. Is more important than how you're going to perform on the weekend. So if you rehearse well and you do what you're supposed to, then they will reward you on the weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just watching that Patriots documentary when I was on the flight that they're running on Apple TV, Dynasty, whatever. And like when you walk in their facility, Bill Belichick had this huge sign, and it said, "Every battle is won before it is fought." It's from like the Art of War. It's like some Sun Tzu, and you saying that immediately made me think of that big quote that was in their locker room.
Whiplash, the movie Whiplash.
Yep,
that's my favorite movie.
It is.
Yeah, and it can tell you a lot about.
It's really hardcore though.
Yeah, that's how.
That guy is hardcore.
That's how. But it wasn't personal.
That's right.
It wasn't personal. Then when you see him outside of that, he's a normal guy, but the kid is traumatized, and maybe rightfully so. But he wasn't made for it. It wasn't made for it.
This is why you loved Lionel.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I do love Lionel. Yeah.
But you also, you would roll your eyes at softer guys.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Like I say, Lionel wanted he wanted that confrontation, but it wasn't like I want to fight you. It was more so I want to raise your play, and it's gonna help all of us. And that's one of the things I loved about him. And he also was a life man too. He wanted to preach life into you. You know what I mean? I skipped the X and O stuff. He wanted to teach you how to be a young man. And he oppressed that a lot too. So he still do it to today. He always sending me a scripture or something about life. You know what I'm saying? He carried that on all the way. So big shout out to Lionel, man.
Consistent. Yep.
And he also would burn you to the core to make you mad so that you would be able to perform.
Mark, I don't know if you remember that day, and you got to remember this. And the game-winning shot was on me, obviously. Chris Paul hit the game winner. We down 0-2, leaving L.A. We got in the first practice. Lionel Costa, man, he cursed us out so bad. He told me, what he tell me? He say, "T.A., hell, they not even guard you. What are you going to do?" He looked at Mark. He said, "Mark, I need you to get your ass down there in the block. I don't know who the hell told you was Arvydas Sabonis." He told Zebo, "Hey, Zebo, can you get a rebound that actually counts and stop stealing them from Mike Conley?"
He went down the line.
Down the line.
And told Mike, he said, "Mike, you know what Chris Paul see when he sees you? We're going to X that out. We can't say that for the camera."
Yeah, say that, please.
But that's what he feel like when he see you, my boy. And before you know it, we all looked at each other like we had just – and we blew the blue squad out that day, too, just to make it clear. I think we won every scrimmage. And, man, we went on to win 4 games. And that's that response I was talking about. Like, he wanna fire you up to get you to have that carryover on the court, man. And I'm pretty sure you remember that series, man.
And honestly, he was honest, and he was going to the main guys. He wasn't yelling at the 5th, 6th guy. He was going at the main guys, and the other one just gonna follow suit. It's just how it works.
Also making you mad. I broke the story on Twitter actually that you were going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I knew because one afternoon I was about to go on the air, my phone rings, and it's Tony. And you guys are in the middle of the playoffs. And I'm like, what in the world?
He was mad.
He said,
he was mad.
He said, "Chris." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "This mom hadn't talked to me in 2 weeks." And we get off the plane. He said, "Tony Allen, I need to talk to you. Tony Allen, I need to talk to you." He said, we get off the plane. He said, he come up, put his arm around me, and he said, "I just wanted to be the first to tell you, Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year."
Yeah, he was so hot.
And he said, "This mom," and I said, hey, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, Tony, are you saying Mark won Defensive Player of the Year? He's like, "Yeah, man, he just told me whatever." I go straight on to Twitter. I'm like, "Report, Marc Gasol is going to be named defense." I said, "Tony, that is news." And he's like, "I don't give a."
I think no, but we were not on the plane. We were practicing.
We was in practice.
at
We was in
UCLA.
Okay.
And I see him storming from the back of the bus, just takes
Oh, the
off.
bus. That's right.
And he was so mad and like, man, and like, what are you talking about? Like, obviously,
You didn't even care.
I didn't even know.
No, he didn't. He didn't care.
I
He
didn't.
care.
Not that I care. Like, I didn't know that was an award. Like,
Mark, it makes it even worse that you didn't even care about the award, and it's the only thing in the world he cared about.
And he know that.
yeah, I know
He
that.
know.
I know
Crazy.
that.
It's crazy because like, yo, it all made sense. Cause when he won his ring, you know, and I saw what he put on the ring. He put the grit and grind on the ring.
Yep.
I say it come back full circle, man. I'm talking about I was smiling from it. I think a tear probably came out my eye, but man, when you did that, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that was gangster.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, that was gangster. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
all right. And then it's like he said, I think you told me when you came to my crib, when you know, round
Yeah.
back. He said, I got the ring now. You want the defensive player? You
buddy, and yeah.
He just handed it to you.
That was funny, man. But yeah, man. I mean, it was an award, man. I was feeling like a guard hadn't won it in so long, and I was chasing it. I was chasing it. And but to his credit, I helped a lot that year. I was on the defensive end. I was tagging
Bruh,
and digging
like, come on.
and helping out. So either way it went, it was all up. You
We
feel
were the
me?
best team defensively in the league.
No
I
question.
don't believe like defensive player of the year. Like how you measure that without putting the team in it. Like I understand it. You know everything about marketing and it's something that you can chase but it's more about team. It's a team sport.
For sure.
It's always
For
a
sure.
team sport. And so I understand why and everything, but
Is there an individual accomplishment you're most proud of?
nah.
You
That's
don't.
him.
You really
That's
don't
him,
care.
dog.
No, I'm trying to
That's
think.
him.
I'm like,
he's so
nah,
selfless, bro. Look at him. He
The
don't.
All-Star game.
The All-Star game was cool. It's just like a validation. Like, okay, let me see who's here sitting today.
And getting to do it against your brother. I mean,
That was the second one though.
But that's
That's
forever.
how. Yeah, I like the first one especially because you're nervous again about playing the game of basketball. You had seen there with Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Tim
Right.
Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki. Like you grew up watching those guys, and all of a sudden you're in the locker room with them. That's cool. That's like, okay, let me see how they move. Let me see how they operate, how they talk, how they approach the game. I went in there I'm trying to win these games too.
You didn't know any better.
No, I just because if I take it down, I'm gonna lose. I'm not that talented that I can just cruise on games and
Right.
trying to win no playing defense or not talking or not.
He ain't used to half-ass pretty much.
You can't win.
How much do you watch now?
Phew, quite a lot, but watch European basketball, NBA basketball, college basketball. Obviously now, I like to watch basketball just because you can pick some of the things and see things that you can apply at different levels. So I like watching basketball.
What's a
lot.
day in the life like now? What does Marc Gasol do on an average day?
So it turns around my kids now more than anything. It's like their schedule, and then I'll just build mine off of them. I have to go up to Girona where we have the team there and the club, and we're growing. And
How far is that?
about an hour and 50 minutes from my house.
So explain to people, right, for that don't know, just kind of how the basketball ecosystem works there and then your involvement.
ACB is supposed to be the second best league outside the NBA, right?
Okay.
The NBA is the best home league. Then it's ACB, Spanish league, is supposed to be the second. So we founded a team back in 2014, but only with kids at first. So only the foundation, only the roots, only kids from years 13 to 18.
Okay.
Fast forward to 2017, I made the first senior team. We started in 4th division. We kept growing, and then once I decided to let go of my NBA career, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back. My team was in the 2nd division by then. I'm gonna play for my team, try to bring him up, obviously, to the 1st division, bring up the ticket sales, learn a lot of things of how things are working here, and try to make it to the ACB. And we did that,
So are you the owner?
100%. Yeah.
You are
The sole owner.
100% owner of this team.
Yeah.
And so this now consumes you. Making this, outside of family life.
It takes away the free time, but
Yes.
and stuff like that. But you learn so much. Like you learn from the front office aspect of it. You learn from the coaches how coaches react. You obviously have the players' perspective. So you're trying to create something or adapt something that worked so well here in the NBA and everything that you learn along your journey, and from the national
Culturally,
team
pretty much.
culturally,
Yeah.
and trying to bring it because one thing. a lot of things that are done here are much better than done in overseas. Like the individual work that we put in here, it's
Skill work.
unparalleled. Yeah,
Right.
But then it's how you translate that into the team success. That's where we miss it, right? Like the priority is like, okay, we're going to work out 1-on-0 for 2 hours, but then I'll give you the context or the goal, why you're doing it, and explain to you how this is going to translate into the games. I'm not doing you a favor. So I see a lot of guys that, spend so much time into dribbling, you're not going to have the ball in your hands most of the game. So obviously you need to work on your dribble. It's just finding that percentage, finding that balance. So yeah, that's what the things that I like to do.
And in terms of team building and figuring that out, like, what kind of players you want, and does your roster change out? Is it an every year your roster is a new roster?
Definitely, the coaches have been changing a lot.
Are you impatient or
no? It's just a way.
You just got to find the fit.
The standards that you like to see, and how they react to certain things. It's always important to me. I only have 5 things on offense, 5 things on defense that I give them is a structure. From that, you paint the house how you want, put the whatever you want on the inside. Decoration is your choice, but this is the foundation and the walls. So if you stay within that, I'm cool with it.
Do you find that you now watch basketball through the prism of scouting players?
All of it.
You
All
do.
of it, all of
Like
it.
when you're watching, though, are you thinking like, hey, this guy, like, you know what I
think
mean?
From watching so much basketball and preparing for games, you're always going to have that, like tendencies. But now you look more at the mindset of the players. Like at least for me, like everybody has talent. It's what's your mindset that is going to separate you and going to make a difference, really. And that's that feed what we're trying to do. So you cannot jeopardize and take shortcuts in that. Like you cannot oversee like, well, he don't have a good attitude, but he's very talented. Well, I think that's short term.
Well, I think about Big 3. Hell, I need to be signing up over there, huh?
Would you sign Tony to play for
For
your
10
team?
days at least.
Right now.
You
right
will?
now. Right
You
now.
would sign
Right
him?
now. The check might not make him happy though.
Hey, you weren't here last weekend, right? Like he did the starry thing, the jumper.
How
Mark.
did it go?
Bro, the wind was blowing, bro.
What happened?
But you always used to tell me I'm a swing guy. I'm not
Swing again?
I'm not the swing. I'm the swing guy. You know what I'm saying?
Boy.
In this instance, I was a swing guy. I should have been. But hell, Rudy, he only made 10. I mean, no, he made 9.
Rudy was here too?
Yeah,
Rudy
Mario
there.
Chalmers
And
was
Mario
too.
Chalmers made 10. The wind was blowing.
What
And those
was
fairly
the
good
game
shooters.
though? What was the game?
We
Shoot
shot from the
three-pointers.
3-point line. And Starry,
Scoot in a little bit, killer. Just
Yeah, I should have shot it.
start,
You going through your whole career.
And listen,
Scoot in a little
it's
bit.
crazy because I was surprised I even hit that 6. I don't shoot like this no more.
You form shooting now?
I'm now form
Okay.
shooting now, so I'm a little right here in the front now, and it still didn't pan out, but damn.
Damn jump shots.
Hey.
One thing about him,
Do you think those teams? Everybody always does the like different eras thing,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, well, could the '90s Bulls play against these teams? Whatever. Do you think your team with the way
there it go.
there it is right
There
there?
you go.
Look at this, Mark.
Okay.
This is broke.
Oh,
No,
look,
this
look.
is broke.
No, he ain't jumping though.
Look at
So
that.
he needed
Jumping.
to jump. He
can't.
he don't have his lift. Like
can't.
he needs to jump
Bad
real
knee,
high.
bad
And on the
knees.
way down, he's
Bad
I see, and I didn't know that when I was playing. See, if I'd have knew that when I was playing, I'm telling you, I'd have shot a little better. You know, that's cash.
This poor
Hold
D.
on.
I look that one look
Man,
good
who
though.
the hell was recording all these misses? Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
But that's my new form now, Mark. It's funny you noticed that. Like
So you flat-footed now?
I'm flat-footed now. But when I used to play, you're right. I used to jump as high as I can and shoot it on the way
and
down.
then make up your mind about
And
it.
I'm just now learning. I didn't have to do that when I was
With the
playing.
way it's all spaced out now, do you think those teams could win now?
Us?
With you and Zach and Tony and Mike, like, is it just a team of a bygone era where now everybody
Well,
has to be able to shoot threes and you're spacing it out? And
True that. That is one of the factors that affect him. But my whole thing is I would get irritated. You know, just the touch fouls. You can't put the arm bar. And just to see Mark all the way in the drop, oh, man, I probably won't talk to him until the exit meeting.
You get Booker coming up the screen and just raised, and he's behind, like hitting
my-
like whoever big, like Nurkic, and like he would be mad. Like I would not be allowed.
I don't
would
think
not,
I could. That's
yeah,
what I tell everybody. I say I don't think I could play in this league. And I think Coach Silva, I'm gonna say Coach Silva, Adam Silva, is going to probably put a little more physicality back into the game and start letting them bigs get back down.
He's
in the
starting to
post.
let 2 posts All-Star break. You can tell they're letting more stuff go.
Yeah. It's just that obviously the numbers now mean so much
Yeah.
to make decisions, and back then it was a bit different.
How much do you keep up with the Grizzlies seasons?
Quite a lot.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, last couple of weeks I've been on the move a lot, so I haven't.
Well, this season you're forgiven
but-
if
but,
if you're not watching it now.
but
But you've been through these kind of seasons too, where a season gets wrecked by injuries, and it's like, okay, reset. We'll be back to being good.
When the team was healthy and everybody was playing, they look good.
Yeah.
They look good. They look like on a
Amazing.
mission. They look on a mission. They had Ja as a guy that everybody wants to
That's right.
follow and is able to do so, and everybody played their part perfectly, and they look really good. So
I
hopefully,
guess the last remaining connection is Jaren,
yeah, he was
right?
he was-
Like that's the last connection
Oh, yeah,
to
you did play
you
with
and him because
How
he was a
old
rookie.
How old? He was like 18 or 19 when he
That's
first
right.
came in. Yeah. No,
Did you think he was going to be an outstanding player in this league?
he could. He was different. You could see the change of like how players are and how talented they are. He could drive. He could shoot threes. He could block shots. I mean, it's now how you put everything together as a team.
Exactly.
And when everything was together, they look pretty good. So I can't wait for next year and see them and watch them play, and root for them.
It's going to be Saturday night. Memphis made Marc Gasol. 33 don't play. Now, they made this look like the Project Pat cover
Mister Don't Play.
because you loved Project Pat.
That was my 2 teammates from Fraser. Like they the one to put me into Project Pad, and
They say in the doc it helped you learn
they
English.
were there. Yeah, well,
it helped
not,
you learn
not great
English.
one, but not great English. But yeah, like we spent so much time together, man. Those days were the best. We knew a window from the little high school gym that was broken, so we could break in at night and play, and that's all we did. Like honestly, like every day we would try and just go around the city trying to find games and play basketball.
Why do you think it was such a love affair with you and the city?
I think the city don't judge, past or like they just care about you and what you're willing to do, and every day. And I think that went away along the way with everyone that stepped into Memphis. Like they just judge you for today. They don't care about your past. They don't care about. It's like how you gonna, who you're gonna be today. And that just fit perfectly with me because always like, oh, you Prowse brother, or you're not gonna be this or you're gonna be that. Here like, hey, I like what you did today. Like more of that. And it was just it worked out perfectly.
You felt like it was not judgmental.
I have also a selective hearing. Like I hear what I want to hear, and I feel and connect with the people that I want to connect with, because there's a feeling, and that feeling here was, like that. They didn't care about what other people thought of them either. Like Memphis doesn't care what LA people think about Memphis. Like we don't care. Like we're not going to care now. We haven't cared the last 30 years. You don't care about us, so don't judge. So I think that just resonated with who I am, and it stuck with me.
Obviously, Zach's is up there in the rafters right now. We had that night. Have you thought about what this is going to feel like, having 33 retired in FedEx Forum?
I think it's the kind of event that you can imagine, but until you walk that walk, like
Right,
you don't
right.
really know what it's going to feel like. The anticipation is crazy. Like I have a lot of emotions balled up, but I think it's just going to be a very unique feeling that not many people can say. And to be up there with those cats, with
incredible.
Zebo, with TA and Mike.
Soon to be.
Eventually. Like I can't wait to come back. And
There was a bit of a delay.
Low down, boy. That boy ain't low down, man.
hiccup.
But it's coming, though. It's coming.
We got you on the right track.
I
We're
dig
good.
it.
We're
dig
good.
it.
I'm very happy and fortunate to be able to be. It's going to be the four of us up there, and rightfully so. That's that's all I care about.
And is it a little annoying for you guys that Mike is still awesome?
No,
He
it-
is like
it
essential
don't
for the
surprise me.
Timberwolves. He is playing great.
It don't surprise me, man. He's been
Unbelievable.
Mike always been one of those cats. He took care of his body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He plays the right way. He always could shoot, and he always had good camaraderie skills to bring everybody together, man. He know how to talk to people. He know how to talk to everybody, and he just fits right in to any situation. So I'm not surprised at what he's doing right now. He just signed another deal, so big shout out to Mike, man. He keep going. He probably got about 2 more years after that. On the Udonis Haslam side after that, but but he just that kind of, he got that character to where you want him in the locker room at all costs.
Yeah, in any crowd, Mike will, race. And you put him in a good team, he's going to make a great team. And if the team is great, he's going to make it even better. So, Mike, very happy for him. I think, a lot of things that you see, you can live through him and watch him, and then, you understand how he helped the team win, and I love that.
Last thing before you get out of here, because I know you got to run. In the documentary, they cover this, and then obviously I know when you're in town, you're going to be in town for a week. The work you did and how special these hospitals are to you that are in this city, right? And there's a lot of clips and a lot of the relationships that you built there. And obviously your family had a very strong connection with St. Jude almost immediately when your parents moved to you.
Yeah. That were their, they feel, my parents, both my parents were in the medical world. I was not a doctor.
Right.
And my way of helping patients was that, and not patients and their families and what they were going through. It was very dear to me, and I think they helped me more than I helped them. They gave me more strength to overcome any challenge that we faced. Obviously, it's first world problems, right? When you lose a game or you not perform or whatever injuries that you're gonna recover from. When you go and deal with them, you see a different perspective in life, and you see a different type of fight. Unfortunately, a lot of the stories and people that I met and kids that I met didn't make it, and that changes everything on how you perceive life. And thankful to have hospitals like Le Bonheur and St. Jude that will go above and beyond for those families and kids. So now that I have kids, if anything were to happen to me, I know where to go.
Yep. He is Marc Gasol. If you see him bouncing around town this week, say hey to him. Give him a high five and congratulate him on his number going up in the rafters. First 5,000 are going to get this record on Saturday night. Very well may be an Embiid sighting, too. Yeah. Because they're saying he's coming back this week. So maybe and we may have to go ahead and throw you in a uniform on a 10-day. You want to play on Saturday?
No.
You look good, man. You done.
Yeah, I can.
You can't get us a bucket, a rebound?
I can get you a stop, maybe a 5 fouls, a lot of claps, a lot of yelling the schemes.
That's how I feel.
That's about it.
Welcome back to the Chris Vernon Show here on Grind City Media. I'm your host, John Roser. That was our interview with Marc Gasol and Tony Allen back from April. Next up, Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith is a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He's a 15-time All-Star and a 13-time Gold Glove winner. Ozzie Smith received the National Civil Rights Museum Sports Legacy Award in 2024, and he joined the Chris Vernon Show in studio back on January 15th. Here's how it went.
Ozzie Smith, the Hall of Famer from the St. Louis Cardinals, is here in studio. And before we get this started, I am going to give you a little nostalgia. Just for everybody out there, I cannot believe I was able to find this on YouTube. But someone, probably around my age, posted this. But there is a movie that I watched more times than any other movie ever. And it begins with 2 little boys wondering if Ozzie Smith is a good guy. Here's the movie, and I will let everybody see the beginning.
Cartoons? Sometimes. They get boring. At least the good guys win. My dad says good guys don't win in real life. And if they do, they turn into bad guys.
What about Ozzie Smith? He's a good guy.
I don't know. I hope so.
I wish there was a way to find out.
Me too.
Look at the beginning of this. They don't make them like they used to, Ozzie Smith.
Where did you find that?
Oh, you ready? You ready for me to blow your mind? I have.
Ozzie Smith, the movie.
I never I still have it to this day.
Yeah,
You see how look how beat it is.
It's beat up. Yes, it is. Golly.
And in this, it starts off with two kids saying, "Well, no. The good guys don't always lose. What about Ozzie Smith?" And I lived by that. Like, there was something about this, and I was thinking about this. I was trying to tell my son. I was like, there's nothing that like truly creates heroes like this anymore, right? Like I didn't know you, and I didn't know everything about you. I didn't know everything about your personal life. I didn't know and now for an athlete, it's very difficult. There's a mythology that I got to live with. Not saying that you're not a good guy, but I'm saying for every athlete, right? There's like they could make an Ozzie the movie, and I could watch this over and over. And I did. I'm gonna prove this. In the movie, you talked about how you love to feel the baseball, right? Mm-hmm. And so you put on a brown paper sack.
That's right.
Over your hand, and you're throwing a racquetball against the wall and catching it in the brown paper sack.
That was my first glove. That was the first thing that as close as I could come to for a real glove. I put it on, and it's the creativity of kids. When we were young, we spent a lot of time outside and stuff, and it was the creativity. And I put that on, and I played with any ball that I could find. Mm-hmm. And you could always find me bouncing a ball, be it basketball or racquetball or tennis ball. I always had a ball that I always bounced because I think it was one of those things that I didn't really know my skill set at that time. And I realized later that it was doing those little things that helped enhance what was God-given. And so, I played I did that a lot by myself, so it was, my creative mind was always working. And I used to throw the ball against the wall and worked on my forehand and my backhand. My parents never had to tell me that. And I tell kids today that it has to become a part of you. You can't be told by your parents that you should be practicing. And if you have to tell your kid, to go out and practice, I'm not sure that's what he's gonna do the rest of his life. If you teach a kid when he's young, if he finds that thing that he's passionate about, he'll never work a day in his life. And I found that was the way it was for me. I don't feel that I ever worked a day in my life because I did what I loved doing. And I had a chance to share that with people, and it doesn't get any greater than that. The story that you're talking about, as a kid, I signed a lot of autographs and stuff. Now we have these autograph sessions. And one of the greatest things for me is for when you can have an impact on people, especially young people at an early age. I had this little boy came up to the table, and he put his cards up there for me to sign. And this kid was probably 8, 9 years old. And I'm signing the card, and his mom says, "Do it for him. Do it for him." So the great call by Jack Buck in 1985 in the playoffs. Smith corks one down the line. The little kid goes into this. Smith corks one down the line. It may go. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. The Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. This little kid, verbatim, she said every time that they got in the car, they had to put that tape in.
Wow.
They were great. They were great baseball fans, and he put it in that tape in. That was standard. When they got in the car, he put it so the kid memorized that, and it's nice to be in a position as an athlete that you can create and touch people's lives in that way. And I don't know if it gets any more positive than that, or if you can be any more blessed to be in a situation where you can create moments that last a lifetime.
Well, to that point, I'm a kid growing up in the suburbs of St. Louis, and I tell my mom, you have to go to the grocery store and you have to get me brown paper bags. Ozzie, I had a glove.
There's something wrong with you, man.
I had a glove.
There's something wrong with you.
I had a glove, but you were doing it on the bed. I'm like, this is what's going to make me awesome. I'm going to become awesome if I just use this brown paper bag and I just get the feel of it, whatever. And obviously I did not become... the Wizard. No one calls me that.
But you had a lot of fun.
I did have a lot of fun doing it, right?
But no, that's really what it's all about. It's
Sure.
being able to touch people that way. And, I was lucky to be able to do what I love to do, and being able to share it with people, and St. Louis is that baseball town, man, and they eat it, they breathe it, they sleep it, and I don't know if my life would have been the same had I not gotten traded over in the winter of 1981 from San Diego.
Yeah. Where were you when you got the call about this, about today and the events of today and being an honoree for the Martin Luther King Day game?
Well, actually, this was probably the third time that there was a request, but I'm very busy, so it just so happened that it worked out. The schedule worked out. It was finally time for this to happen, and when I got the call, I said, you know what, I'm not busy on the 15th, so I'm gonna be there. I tell them yes, I will accept. So it was very easy. And anytime you're honored this way for something other than what you're known for, and I've always worked extremely hard at trying to be the very best that I could be at whatever it was that I was going to do in my life. And I understood early on that the most important talent in life is the ability to give back. And so, being able to be a part of a community that I could be proud of. And I wanted to be proud of the community in which I live, So I knew it was important for me to be a good role model for kids and stuff, because whether we want it or not, they look up to us. And I never took that for granted and stuff. And so to be honored, and I'm very humble to be in the same class with Calvin Hill and Renee and Alex English, who to me moved in slow motion. What a pretty jump shot. Oh God, it's just it was fun. And I know Alex. I'd met him before, and he was one of my childhood heroes and stuff. And so I'm very honored and very humble to be one of the honorees here this year.
In terms of post-career and having a public persona and staying Ozzie Smith and getting involved in the community and getting involved with so many guys retire, and sometimes we have to, it'll be a Sports Illustrated, where are they now, right? But you have been, within the public consciousness, certainly within St. Louis, and people still have an awareness of what's going on with Ozzie Smith. Did you ever consider post-career just kind of fading back, playing golf every day? Like, why do you think it was important to you to still use your platform when you were done being a professional athlete?
Well, I understood the platform. You have a way of touching people, and I realized that early on. And I like I say, I never took that for granted. And I know that kids, when they come up to me, that there's a certain honesty that kids have, and they believe in me. And like the movie, we saw in the movie there,
you have to live up to that.
You have
for
to
the
live
rest
up
of
to
it.
it.
When the opening scene
That's right.
is the good guys
Yeah.
lose.
So I want to be that
what
good
about
guy.
Ozzie Smith?
But I want to be that. I want to be that good guy, and I want people to know that all the guys aren't bad. There are a lot of guys that are doing a lot of good, and I want to be one of those guys. And people say, "Well, you sign a lot of autographs." I sign autographs because if that's the only chance, the opportunity someone's going to have to meet me, I want that to be a pleasant experience. I don't want them walking away saying, "Hey, you know what? He wasn't the person I thought he was." So I always took that to heart, and I always tried to make sure that the experience was going to be a pleasant one.
And then once post-career, were you ever thinking, I'm just gonna?
No, not really.
I'm
just gonna live my life.
I'm ready to not have all of this attention.
No, it doesn't work that way. You once you lose your anonymity, it's gone forever. And I think that once you come to grips with that, then it makes life a lot easier. And it's very nice to be able to walk out and have people say good things about you. It's better than having somebody say, "Oh, that guy was it wasn't pleasant." So I took that very seriously, and I want people to feel that that I'm approachable.
But all the autographs, all the pictures, in this day and age, pulling out a cell phone camera probably every time.
It's a little different.
People see you everywhere.
It's different. And I can't sign every autograph, and we have autograph sessions now because
Sure.
I'm with Fanatics, so there are rules and guidelines and things that go with that. But by the same token, the fact that we do have phones now, it's probably more pictures and things
Sure.
now rather than signing things, and so usually when I'm out and about somewhere, somebody say, "Can I get a selfie?" That's the big deal.
Sure.
And stuff. So I'm very open to that.
What was your experience at the National Civil Rights Museum yesterday and walking through it and taking part in all the festivities?
It was the first time that I had a chance to actually take that in myself. And from a personal standpoint, there were moments where, it brings back all of the memories of that time during the assassination and all the unrest and everything that went along with it.
Do you remember it well?
Yeah.
From your childhood? You do?
From my child. I was relatively young, but I can also remember the riots in South Central Los Angeles back in '65.
Mm-hmm.
And, lived through that. I can remember the National Guard having to set up across the street. So there are a lot of things that, as you get older, when you look back on them, you may not have known or felt the impact at that particular time, but as time goes on, you realize that you were part of a big part of history, and certainly the assassination of Dr. King and growing up with Andy Young and Abernathy and all of those people who were so much a part of the movement, and still the movement continues today. The things that they fought for. And I, myself, and all of the athletes that have a chance to do what we're doing today would not have had that opportunity had they not made the sacrifice and the commitment and the determination to make life a little bit better for all of us. And, hopefully the fight continues. And the people that are fighting the fight, I'm very proud of the people that are willing to put their neck on the line to make things better for all of us.
Right now, how do you want to impact things? What matters to Ozzie Smith in terms of the impact that you have on both sports, society, everything that you're a part of, right? You've got this platform, and now I'm sure, the goals change. At one point, it's, I want to win every Gold Glove. I want to be the best shortstop ever. I want to be a World Series champion, all of those things. And then your goals evolve, and certainly post-career. So now, what drives you?
Well, I do play a lot of golf now. And when I was growing up in South Central Los Angeles, I never golf was never on the radar. It was
Right.
always baseball, football, or basketball. And so when I retired in '96, for most of us, there's a competitive void in your life. And I think guys gravitate to golf because of the challenge. You're challenging yourself, you're challenging the sport and the people that you're playing against. And if you're going to be good at it, you gotta work at it. And I was never afraid of the work ethic. I had to. My size and stuff, I had to do things twice as good as the big guy. Otherwise, you're not recognized. So the work ethic was certainly there, and I approached golf the same way that I approached my craft. And I've gotten myself to a point now to where, I'm about a 4 handicap. I don't know if I want to go any lower than that. I can't make any money. But it's that drive, and I think it's continuing that thought process of being whatever I choose to do in my life to be the very best at it. Knowing that I'm not going to be a professional golfer, but I don't want to embarrass myself either when I get to play in tournaments. I've had the good fortune of playing with the Golden Bear, Tom Watson, Annika Sorenstam, David Duval, Michael Jordan. So when you're in situations like that, you don't want to be the worst one.
Especially not when you're playing with Jordan.
Yeah, right. That's always competitive.
I've been told the money gets high.
Yeah, well, it's not always for him. We talk about the money, but here it's that competitive void,
Sure.
man. It's that competitiveness, and I want people to know that
It's a lot healthier than gambling.
that's right.
It used to be gambling or golf, right?
That's right, and stuff. So if I want to be known, I want to be known for that person who put his heart and soul into everything that he did. And I want people to get along. You know, I want people to when you walk by me and say hello. You know, we've gotten to a point now in this country that, well, we don't even say hello to each other. And that's bad, because it doesn't cost you anything. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. And so I want people, when they see me, to feel comfortable enough to be able to say hello and maybe have a conversation.
Where do you think that comes from? Mom?
Yeah.
Mom is
Always,
prevalent
yeah.
in Ozzie the movie.
Yeah, she established that early on. There were times in my life, and I tell kids this all the time, there were times where it was very frustrating. I played baseball in high school with a guy by the name of Eddie Murray. And so when scouts came to...
Hold on. You guys were on the same high school team?
Yeah, yeah.
How did I never know this?
Yeah, Eddie and I, we
That's
played
ridiculous.
And I taught him everything he knows.
Did y'all ever lose?
Yeah, we did. We did. But it was, we played more basketball than we did baseball, actually.
Could you hoop?
Man, I shoot the lights out.
Oh,
Come on,
yeah?
now, man, I was an all-city guard. Come on, man.
Do you think you could have been a professional
I
basketball
don't
player?
know if I could have been a professional basketball player, but I could put it in the hoop.
Who'd you play against in L.A.? Because that had to have been crazy, right?
Marcus Johnson. Ray Lewis was a little bit ahead of the time. He went to Verbum Day High School and probably one of the purest shooters the game has ever seen, and stuff. And so those were times that it was just, we just enjoyed the competition. Mm-hmm. And Eddie, when scouts came, Eddie was that guy who could play every position. He was ambidextrous. He came from a baseball family. So when Eddie got drafted in 1973, I had to take a different route to the big leagues. And so I went to a little small school in Central California, one of the only schools that recruited me, called Cal Poly at San Luis Obispo, where after our season we were sent out to play in all these little towns across America. I went to a little town called Clarinda, Iowa, where we had to work during the day and we played at night. And in 1976, I get drafted by the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers offered me $8,500, and I had finished 3 years of my schooling, and I told my mom I'd get my education. So I felt that if they didn't give me 10 grand, they weren't going to take a very good look at me. So in my infinite wisdom, I said, hey, I'm going to go back to them and I'm going to ask them for another $1,500. This is the same year they drafted Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell.
Oh, wow.
And so they say they didn't have it in the budget. So I gambled on me because not many college seniors get drafted. So I went back to school in hopes of getting drafted again my senior year, which I did by the San Diego Padres. And being the good businessman that I am, Chris, I signed for $5,000 and a bus ticket to Walla Walla, Washington, where I started my professional career.
So humility started very early.
Very early. And getting back to what you were talking about my mom, she would always tell me when I was getting to that point to where, I didn't feel I was ever going to get a chance and stuff. And she would always say to me, it's just not your time. You just continue to work hard to be the best that you can be. And when that opportunity presents itself, you be ready to step through that window of opportunity. And that certainly was the case because when I was playing in college, I was ready to come home. I was 4 hours away from home, and I called and told her I think I was ready to come home because I didn't feel like I was going to get that opportunity. And she called my high school coach, and he called me, and he very firmly told me, he said, you're going to stay there because this is the best place for you. And sure enough, I stayed, and a couple of days later, the varsity shortstop gets hurt. He steps into that window of opportunity, man, and I never looked back. I never looked back because I knew that I had the skill set if given the opportunity. I knew I worked hard enough. I knew I had applied myself, and there was no reason for me not to be able to at least play minor league baseball. Mm-hmm. Because I was that gritty a player, and sure enough, man, it all worked out. And so I tell kids today that don't let anybody deter you from your dream. You keep believing in yourself, and if you work hard and keep yourself in a position to be able to step through that window of opportunity when it presents itself.
That is advice that will stand the test of time. Regarding kids that you see now involved in athletics, I have 2 kids that are involved in athletics right now. How have things changed in terms of the advice you do give beyond that? Because it is so, their path now, and you see this, you're very aware of what athletes are going through now, and that there are many kids that are growing up playing baseball and they're playing tournaments every weekend and they're traveling everywhere and everything else. Your path is so radically different. So you can't tell somebody. I even feel this way because of the way I started in radio. Now I see the kids with TikToks and Instagrams and YouTubes, and I'm like, don't do what I did. I can't give you the advice of my path to get where I got. When people
Chris,
ask you, though.
The one thing, Chris, is that, and I say this about baseball, there's certain things that are never going to change. You got to catch it, you got to throw it, you got to hit, and you got to run. Now, you can put all the analytics on it that you want to put on it, which give people things to talk about. But those 4 things are never going to change. As a person or as a kid, the one thing that the thing that I always try and lead them with is that in life, you're only gonna get out of it what you put in it. If you don't put anything in it, you shouldn't expect anything in return. And
that has never changed.
It's never changed.
No matter if you're traveling on the weekends or you're not on the right team or whatever it may be.
You got to work hard at being the very best that you can be. And if you work hard at being the very best that you can be, and the other people approach it the same way, you got a better chance to win.
Got to ask you about basketball real quick because we do have obviously, the Grizzlies have been destroyed by injury this year. Probably. Hopefully, we're going to get to see John. You were going to get to see John Moran. Obviously,
how about that?
It's not meant to be.
No.
But beyond that, how much NBA do you watch? How much basketball would I be if I'm spending the week at Ozzie Smith's house? How often are we watching basketball?
Well, sports is always on.
It's always on.
It's always on, and it's always nice to see. My guys growing up is you love to watch Magic. I mean, that says it all. Jordan, the guys that you know by one name. You just say Magic and you say Jordan and
Is there an athlete you love now?
I don't know. It's fun watching little guys be able to excel in the NBA because the NBA to me is so physical. It is a physical sport. When you watch the Milwaukee Bucks and some of these guys are 7 feet. Embiid and
Giannis.
To watch their touch and stuff, and it's always amazing to me that you can be that big. And I guess Magic really kind of started with Dr. J, who is one of my favorite people in the world. Is watching Dr. J and the Iceman. All of those guys from that era were very, very special to me, because what they did to me is they changed the way you look at the game. That's what made them Hall of Famers. They changed the way you look at the game and the way that they played, and then it just continued to get better, and the big guys are just continuing. It's the guy in San Antonio now, Wemby. 7-footer dribbling between his legs and stuff, and it's just fascinating to watch it, how this has all transpired and how the game has changed. And big guys now are big guys like that can be guards. It's always fascinating. You asked me earlier about whether or not I could have made it NBA. You got to be 6'4", 6'5", and up to be able to play in the NBA now, which brings me to Steph Curry. Who. Probably one of the best.
Sounds like that's what you thought you were in.
Yes.
When you were all city.
When I was all city, I was Steph Curry.
So if I grew up wanting to be Ozzie Smith, who did Ozzie Smith grow up wanting to be?
I don't know if I grew up wanting to be anybody in particular.
Who Who was like your childhood, the guy that
I realized that baseball was really what I loved doing more than anything else. And, so you watch the little guys, the Maury Wills, the Bert Campaneris of the world, who were smaller guys who were still having a big impact on their teams and stuff. And so I just wanted to be that guy who could contribute to the success of a team. And success of a team has to do a lot with consistency, being consistent at the way you go about your craft every day. I think that's the thing that separates the good from the average and the average from the great is the degree of consistency with which you do what you do. And so I worked hard at being consistent every day, being able to make that routine play. And I tell kids this, you got to be able to make that routine play every day. You want to be that guy that when they have the meeting on the mound and the manager's about to walk away, he says, "Get Ozzie a ground ball." You want to be that guy on your team that people can rely on and know that more often than not, if I get it to him, something good's going to happen.
He is Ozzie Smith. He is going to be taking part of the symposium, which is going on today at 3:30. It's going to be on TV on Bally Sports, so you'll be able to watch it. He, along with Renee Montgomery and Calvin Hill, Alex English, the honorees are taking place in that today. And then, of course, the Grizzlies are playing the Warriors later this afternoon. This has been the absolute thrill of all thrills. I made it through, Roser. You gotta say, I made it through.
You did.
Well, see,
I made
Chris,
it through.
I'm going to tell you, man. I'm glad that I can be a part of a day where it had to be tough for you. The Dallas Cowboys. How about that?
No, not you too.
No,
Him too.
no, Chris. No, I'm just.
no.
I know you're a big Cowboy fan, and there are a lot of fans around the country today that just they don't know what to do, man.
It's so crazy. Last
this
night,
was the year.
everybody knew.
Yeah.
And so people were tweeting me. They're like,
Yeah.
just remember, you get to meet Ozzie Smith tomorrow. And I was like,
That's why I'm here, Chris. I'm with you.
This is a blessing. No, this is saving me. The fact that I couldn't even think about the fact that my team again. Again.
It has to be frustrating, man.
Oh, thanks a lot.
It has to be.
I'm glad. If you'd have walked in here with like a Packers hat, I really would have.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't have known what to do with myself.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Well, I'm glad you're getting to enjoy the Memphis snow, Ozzie.
They say it doesn't snow in Memphis.
I know. The one time you get here, right? And then you are seeing this.
I get snow and I
outside.
don't get to see John Moran. How about that?
You got the.
On the same trip, but
but
I got
you
to
got to be here.
I got to be here with you.
You got to be here, and I promise you will never find it. Roser will attest. He's been with me for 17 years, and he's been in my house many times.
You wouldn't believe the amount of Cardinals
You're not gonna find
Ozzie
it.
Smith memorabilia he has. It is
crazy.
Yeah, That's
between
great.
cards.
I mean, come on, man. How
That's
many
great.
people still have this?
That's right. It's great to be able, as I said earlier.
Who
to-
has Ozzie the movie?
The movie. Wow.
When this didn't win the Oscar, I was so mad.
Because there was some real acting done in that, boy.
What year did that come out?
1987.
Yeah, 1987.
1987. Yep, that's it.
Those were the days.
Oh yeah. I've even got I brought a shirt too. I look.
Oh, Platoon won Best Picture that year.
Come on.
Platoon.
Who's rewatching that?
Hey, nobody's rewatching that.
I know how that ends.
And
It's terrible.
and best actor. Paul Newman won
Newman.
Best Actor.
Oh,
for
come
The Color
on.
movie.
Oh, guess you needed some salad dressings. Look at this. Look at this one. You can't even see your face on this anymore.
Wow, it's worn out.
Look.
Look at that.
Look.
The paint's come off of it.
That's a great shirt.
Wow.
Look
Look
at
at
that.
that.
You can't even see you.
You brought all your stuff, man.
I've got it all.
Wow.
I told you. I
Big
was going to
fan.
prove. I was going to prove.
Big fan.
Ozzie was my guy.
Yeah.
I told you. I mean, like, I rode with it. And every day, you live not far from me. And
the other-
people would see you at Deerberg's. which is the supermarket.
That's right.
They would see you.
Because I have to shop, I have to eat.
I know. And I'm like, there's no way he does his own shopping. They're
Yeah.
like, he's in here all the
All the
time.
time, that's
Oh,
right.
I would, every time I was at Dearborn, I'm like, is Ozzie Smith here? You were never there.
But no, I get to, you know, I
You were never
get to
there.
know all the cashiers and everybody.
That's what they would
man.
tell me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ozzie's in here all the time. And I'm like,
Where?
When is he in here all the time? I've never seen him one time.
Well, and I got a news for you, Chris. It's still happening. So
You're
if you
still
come to
going to
St.
Dearborn's?
I go to Dearborg's. I go to Schnucks. You know, I spread it
Unbelievable.
around, man. Yeah, I do. I like to cook, you know, so I do my own shopping.
That's crazy.
Next time Chris is in St. Louis, he'll be the guy outside one of those stores with
Oh,
a
I
tent.
know.
He'll be camped out
Camped
with a
out,
tent.
yeah.
Well, there used to be these. I mean, what a feeling it must have been to walk in there.
Oh, yeah.
If they had the big stand up. So
Stand-up.
he was, he was the face of Vest Soda.
Vest.
Vest.
Yeah, George Brett. Yeah,
Vest Soda. Do they still make it?
Yes, Vest
They
is still
still have
around.
Vest?
Yeah.
Vest Soda, and
Vest
it had a
Soda.
big stand up. So I mean, like you had to
Yeah.
have seen your stand up every time you walked in there.
Walked in there.
I've got a-
and I
what
go.
is-
I get right next to it, you know.
Yeah, Vest
But no,
Soda.
it's still around.
They do still make it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
crazy. I drank Vest because Ozzie Smith drank Vest.
I think the guy.
You never even drank it, did you?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
love
did?
soda. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
love
good.
soda growing up. But I think the guy's name was Don Schneeberger. I think was
Okay.
the president of Vesno at the time, and the other guy was Mike Duffy. And Mike Duffy, God rest his soul, has passed on. But those were the two people that I dealt with most of the time. at Vest.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, this has been the thrill of all thrills. Thank you so much for coming in.
All right. Thank you
All right.
guys so much for having me.
Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith.
That is going to do it for today's edition of the Chris Vernon Show, a best of edition right here on Grind City Media. Our next best of show will be on Monday, December 30th. We are back on January 2nd with live shows in 2025. Until Monday's best of show, peace.